Welcome to this edition of Nations and Generations. My name's Billy Mac Richard, and I'm glad you came by. Today we're going to be talking, can you hear it? Hey, thanks for hanging around. Also, want to let you know, please make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. That way you'll be notified anytime we have new content that comes out. And speaking of content, I'm very interested in knowing things that you're interested about. What is speaking to your heart the day that we're living in? The things that we see going on around us. What are you hearing? What are you sensing? What are you seeing? What do you have a comment on? What do you have questions about? Please hit us up, let us know. We'd love to be able to address some of those things, have a discussion with you, maybe bring you on the show and let's talk about it. Also, you can go to nationsandgenerations.com. You'll find some material and information there, and you can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/nationsandgenerations. Thank you again so much for stopping by. Today we're going to be talking about, can you hear it? Now, if you've followed me at all, you've heard any of the things we've talked about in the past, you know that I'm been talking a lot about our Constitution, how things came about. One of the things I want to address today and bring to your attention is this. Our Constitution was not an invention, it was an inheritance. We'll do some things that talk about that a little more poignantly later. But today, on Election Day, as everybody's been focused right here to get to this day, but as you look beyond today, our Constitution was set up that we elect representatives and not leaders. Now that's very important to understand. We're not looking for civic leaders. We're not looking for the president to be the leader of the United States. Now, he's the leader of the free world. There's no doubt about it. But his constitutional responsibility is to represent the United States of America to nations abroad. And likewise, you get down to the Senate. The Senate was originally designed to be voted on at the state legislature level, and they would be there to represent the states. That's why we've got two of them. Every state does. And then the House of Representatives was put in place to represent the people, thus House of Representatives. And we would vote on those guys every 2 years. Of course, they've kind of changed things amendment-wise. I personally think we ought to go back to the way things were, but that's a discussion for another day. Even down on the local level, if you get down to your governor, your state reps, your state senators, your mayors, county and city commissioners, your representatives, they're all representatives. They're not leaders. It's not like, okay, we're going to vote you in and then we just sit here and twiddle our thumbs and you do what you want to do. That's what we've allowed to happen, but that's not the way things were designed. Things were originally designed that they represent the will and the intention of the people. And as I've been noticing the Trump train that's been going on around the country, I saw this, I think this morning, Katie showed it to me. There was, I think it was in Arizona, people actually got out of their home, got in their vehicles, cars and trucks, Trump flags, the American flags, and they were lined up for like 96 miles of just this support and for President Trump, which is awesome. And I believe, and I'm going to go ahead and say this now today, I believe what we're going to see is we're going to see what we've been calling the Triple Crown. We're going to see the presidency, we're going to see Congress, which is Senate and representatives, and we're also going to see governors from around the state. When they're up for election now, I think they're going to roll over into the red category. Now, make no mistake, and I want to be very clear here, I'm not talking about Democrat versus Republican. We're talking about good versus evil. Which direction are we going to allow the country to go? Whether we're going to allow it to go more towards darkness and evil, are we going to pull back on the reins and do more the way that it was founded by our founding fathers? And make no mistake here, the intention, the documentation, and the will of the founding fathers was to create a republic, which is what we have, a constitutional and federal republic that represents the will of the people. It creates liberty, not just freedom. Liberty is constituted of freedom and morality. You're not free to do whatever you want to do. You're free to do whatever responsibility dictates that you should do. And that's a big distinction between what we've allowed our language to be dissolved into. Well, I've been noticing, and I've noticed back when President Obama was elected, not once but twice, I was not and am not an Obama fan. However, we supported the office as we do now. And one of the things that he began to do is begin to fundamentally, which he said he was going to do, by the way, change the face of America and the apparatus of America. And that's why we ended up having the White House lit in multiple colors. And again, remember that he was duly elected as the representative of the people. So at that point, what we were seeing was a representation of the heart and the will of our nation to lean that direction towards more immorality. But I think what we're seeing now is we're beginning to see the foundation, if you will, or maybe the exposing of the foundation of the will and the heart leaning of the nation. I think what we're seeing as we are electing officials, not Republican, but for righteousness. And what we're beginning to see is a nation that's coming back to its foundation. We're redigging the wells, as Isaac did with Abraham, his father's wells in Genesis. We're beginning in our country to revisit and redig the things that are at the foundation and the fundamental part of our nation. Why that's significant, so today, is that will lead, my wife said it this morning, the rallies will lead to revivals. Not because of a political stance, but we're leaning towards and beginning to see come back the morality which is based on the Bible. And the natural tendency is, once you get to there, then it's always, okay, what's next? Where did that come from? How did we get there? That's why hell has been trying so hard for the last few months to destroy the statues and erase history, all of the cancel culture. All of these things have been positioned by hell, and they're not through yet. Don't think for a minute hell's going to just lay down and let this roll through. But that's okay, because we're diligent. We're vigilant. We have our heads on a swivel. We've been on our knees, and now we're armed, and we are dangerous with the gear of God. We're ready to rock, because we now begin to see and taste the liberty that was fought for and was provided for in the Constitution, but equally in the Word of God. That's where the Constitution got it from. So we're now seeing that what we're desiring is a representation of the heart of our nation towards righteousness. And as the Word of God said, when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. And I'm here to say today, that is the United States of America. I'm telling you, the best is yet to come. I'm excited about what we've got coming. By no means is it time to let our guard down. It is more time to stand the wall and be vigilant and have a plan and execute what needs to be executed. If there's something that needs to be done, make it happen. But we are absolutely seeing the rebirth of a nation, the awakening of a people, and its heart is being turned back to God from whence it came. It's an amazing event that we're watching. And just think about this. God looked through all of history, and He looks down, and He determines that you and I have the privilege to be alive and functioning in the earth today to watch the rebirth of the United States of America. And do not miss this. As America goes, so goes the nations. We have nations standing in the valley of decision today, November the 3rd, 2020, trying to decide, waiting to see what happens in the United States, because they're going to follow suit. And it's going to go all the way down to the support of Israel, embassies, and the recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And then all of this is going to make way for the gospel to be proclaimed in the earth, and for us to be allowed to go in and take possession, take charge of the kingdom of heaven, and disciple nations as Matthew commissions. What a great time God has allowed us to be alive in. Guys, thanks for stopping in. Like, share, give us a thumbs up on this. Questions, comments, concerns are always appreciated. Don't forget, facebook.com, Nations and Generations. Don't forget, nationsandgenerations.com. Until we meet again, Lord bless each and every one of you. Remember, Jesus is Lord, and God is so very good. Have a wonderful day.